Today I'm going to be talking about going to a two-year school versus going to a university right away. Pros and cons. The first thing I'm going to be talking about are the pros, being cost of tuition, the scheduling, um, the opportunities for students to explore their majors, smaller class sizes, the professors, and how that transitions into a four-year university. Then the cons I'm going to be talking about are the curriculum, the workload, a little bit about student life and campus life. So, first of all, we're going to be talking about the pros being cost of tuition. Um, a two-year school, most obvious reason students go to a two-year school is the tuition is much cheaper than it would be at a university. Um, a lot of students don't know exactly what they want to do, so they go to a two-year so that they can explore their majors, take classes that they wouldn't really want to spend the money on at a university, so they can figure out really what they want to do and explore their options for majors. And that's one of the more obvious reasons people go to two-year schools. Um, Along with exploring the major options, you could take classes that you really wouldn't at university just because it costs less. Um, so you get to learn more about different majors. I, for one, when I went to a two-year, I took classes in biology, business, marketing, stuff like that to really get my feet wet and really figure out what I wanted to do along with taking my generals. So we're going to talk a little bit about the professors. Because the class sizes are much smaller, you have a more personal, like one-on-one experience with your professors. A lot of them will be fresh out of master's program, but some of them will also be very seasoned uh, professors that uh, teach part time so that they can follow their own pursuits. And you get more of a personal feeling with them as opposed to going to a university, from my experience. The next thing I'm going to talk about is transitionally. Going to a two-year, a lot of people out of high school don't really know what they want to do. They don't know where they want to go, and they feel the pressure of just picking a school that they think would be good for them. And a lot of times they end up transferring out of the school that they originally go to because they don't feel that it suits the needs that they want as a student or the needs that they have as a person living there. So going to a two-year, they have the opportunity to take classes, not really waste the time that someone who would be taking a year off does, and they get to do their generals that is required at any school while really being able to have time to think about what school they really want to go to finish their program. And it's good. It's a good thing for them because there's not very the financial investment is much smaller than a university. So now we're going to talk about the cons a little bit. Um, the largest one being limited curriculum. A lot of two-year schools, they don't offer four-year plans unless they're in specialized fields like nursing or construction, which is what the school that I went to offered. And the downside to that is you have to transfer out after 2 years after getting your generals done because there's nothing left for you to do. And a lot of the class, because there's less students, you do have to wait for certain semesters to do classes. They may offer something in the fall that they don't offer in spring. So you really have to um, figure out your schedule for the whole year when you're registering for classes so you know exactly what you're going to take. And like you have to, it's more planning involved, I would say. The next big thing is the workload. Um, a lot of two-year schools they don't really have the difficulty that a university carries with it. The workload is similar to that of an AP class in high school. It's really not a college feeling class setting. The teachers they do sort of hold your hand a little bit. They don't really prepare you for that university experience with classes. A lot of teachers at two-year schools, they accept late work. They don't have any attendance policies, stuff that 95% of universities are going to have, which really doesn't help prepare the student to transfer out of the two-year school. So a lot of students transferring from 2 years, they experience this almost like culture shock when transferring out. So now we're going to talk a little about the students. Probably my least favorite thing about going to a 2 year was there really isn't a campus life. You know, you live off campus and you drive to class every day, and you really don't meet anybody. You don't really make friends. People are just there to take their classes and go home or go to work and do whatever else. They're not they're not there to enjoy themselves per se. Um, the campus life, the school that I went to, the campus was just like a main lounge and then classrooms. There wasn't really anything more to it than that. There's no extracurricular activities that you can do. So you really can't get yourself involved and get your feet wet in anything other than classes. And that was a very large downside for me, which is why I ended up transferring out after a year and a half. Another downside is that it doesn't 2 year schools don't really prepare you for the large scale of universities, and that was when I started at Stout. It was the worst thing for me was I wasn't used to so many people being around, class sizes, and stuff like that. And it really takes quite an adjustment from coming to a 2 year or coming from a 2 year. Um, in conclusion, we talked about the pros and cons of going to a 2 year versus going to a 4 year for your first couple of years of college. For pros, we talked about the cost of tuition, the scheduling, um, the opportunities that students have to explore different majors, class sizes, professors, and how it transitions into a 4 year school. For cons, we talked about the curriculum, on how limited it is, the downsides of the workload, and a little bit about campus life and student involvement. And from the speech, I hope you take that there are very, very good upsides to going to a 2 year, and the financial cost it most times outweighs the cons of not having the campus life or student involvement. Thank you.